Hey everybody, welcome to this first subscriber only 5-minute review. We're talking about The Pledge, 1999, 2000-ish. And before I get there, I wanted to add that the point of these 5-minute reviews is, to sort of balance my gifts and experience against the fucking algorithm, and to save you some time, to give you some actual value here. It used to be, of course, that we American humans would turn to something like a reviewer. We really had sets of reviewers. So if this guy we knew was a douchebag and he didn't like this film, we could say, well, I might like it because this other guy that I usually like his opinion, we usually share aesthetic tastes. He's pretty good. All of this has been crushed and then literally like rehypothecated into its own bizarre, multivalent grifting scheme. So here I am looking at you, and not every one of these is going to hit, of course, but um, I'll do my best not to, ever steer you wrong. So The Pledge, right? Um, Check out this cast. So Nicholson plays the lead. Sam Shepard, Helen Mirren, Mickey Rourke, Vanessa Redgrave, and Tom Noonan. Also, Patricia Clarkson does probably her best 5 minutes on screen of all time. And I would say, for my money, Vanessa Redgrave really steals the show before Nicholson steals it back. It's a, it's one of these. It's like the what movies were supposed to be. What the deal was okay. You kind of self-aggrandizing, self-obsessed blowhards can be treated somewhat like royalty. And every once in a while, a few times a year on a regular basis, you're gonna pool together a shit ton of money and some real talent, whether that's writer, director, whatever, cinematographer, sound design, and you're gonna give me something. And that deal is broken. And now that Larry Ellison owns every last shred of every IP, he's gonna probably just do his best to shove this down in rehypothecated form everyone's throat forever. And then once the AI kind of bot thing, Val Kilmer apparently super disappointing, but I guess he had to do what he had to do. I really like Val Kilmer. He sold his likeness, so we're gonna be seeing Val Kilmer forever. All right, so it used to be though that we could expect something like something actually adult and pretty incredible on a regular basis. This to me was one of the last 2000. We know what happened next year. We know what was being done to set it all up. All of this is all fact now, right? I find it very interesting that in the Epstein files, such as they were that have been released, it's like I think 98 to 2002 or somewhere in there in that window. Tons of files, big graph lines, nothing, more files. I'm sure that has nothing to do with any of this sort of stuff. But let's talk about this movie real quick. I'm totally going to make this into a 10-minute fucking review. I'll do my best. I have some notes here. So, my summary, check this out. Retiring cop Jack Nicholson swears he'll catch a child killer after the official case closes too neatly. His obsessive, lonely pursuit consumes his life and new relationships in a slow, tragic psychological descent. Excellent performances and no tidy ending. More about the ruinous power of duty than solving the crime. Definitely the thing about the ending is true and the basics are correct. I want to submit to you that this movie, the odd thing about it is that it's been made into it was originally a novel, and this novel uh It's a German novel, 1958, I think. That was made into like 3 other films before this one. I've never heard of those. I've never seen them. And then from this, I sort of deduced that post World War II, the noir and the detective are being actively rewritten, re-understood. How conspiratorial you want to get on this is up to you. I get pretty fucking conspiratorial on it because I happen to think that this character of the noir detective is special among maybe penultimate or something like that in terms of story archetypes. There's something particularly, there are many things, and I've gone into this at length on the Warhorse. I go into it in Abstract Operator, and I'm going to continue for the rest of my life probably to beat around, approach this from every angle I can, because I'm convinced that in this cluster that creates the scenario where this character can exist, there's huge veins of truth to be had. So the point being, when this version of this story arrives to us in this dead period, the Epsteinian dead period, boomers are getting ready to, they're having to approach retirement realities. I remember this in my own life. Kind of like second chapter decisions are being made. Am I just going to go down with the ship and this is going to be my stupid life? Am I going to try and pull something out here at the end? Everything was pretty open-ended, not like it is now where the options are pretty bleak. For the boomers, they could go back to school. They could pivot or whatever these fuckers, into something new. And this character, Jack Nicholson, crucial. This all is sort of set up around his retirement. What is he going to do with this duty, this ruinous thing about duty? Well, this guy chooses to, he makes a promise to the mother. He swears on the cross that he will find the fucking killer of this little girl. And he follows through with that. And that's the story. And madness ensues, terrible things happen. And the Nicholson character is a hero. He's a little fucked up. He's pretty fucked up. But he goes the distance. You understand? It's kind of no wonder that, have you ever heard of this? If you're a Zoomer or a millennial guy, maybe you have. I don't see a lot of memes being made of this, though. Speaking of memes, I have not talked to Nick Pizzolatto about this. Maybe one day I will. But this owes this. I guarantee it. I'd bet my little toe that Nick saw this and about 10 years later put this out, which is a complimentary thing. What else to tell you? The ambiguous ending is a classic noir. Maybe not classic, but to my money, it's kind of essential. LA Confidential kind of ties this up pretty neatly, more so than the book did. And I think this is a feature of this type of film. It's sort of necessarily adult, and it's rewarding. It satisfies in the Aristotelian sense that cathartic need that we have. Whereas it's kind of like the difference between meat and whatever, high fructose corn syrup. There's nutrition on the one, and care what Brian Johnson or anybody says about sugar. In the other, there's really no nutrition. And this is the conspiratorial element of this. And my supposition is that I bet my life on this. I didn't really plan it that way, but I just had to double down. Is that this is all going to become a lot more serious, but it's not going to be serious in the sense like, oh, you got to scrap for it. Either you know this or you don't. And if you don't, you'll be devoured. The plight, like it's no coincidence that the first thing that AI seeks to eliminate is not accounting. It's not the IRS. It was all those hundreds of thousands of people, behind the scenes, like right here. Here I am, behind the scenes, off scene. Who were it wasn't, Ben Affleck. It wasn't Jack Nicholson. That's the veneer that you throw on the front. And now that Ben Affleck and Jack Nicholson can be reproduced with AI, what's left? Check out Abstract Operator. That will go a long way. Crowbar as well. If you haven't, you probably have, You probably didn't get a subscription without reading those. So 11 minutes? That's fucking terrible. My apologies. But this is sort of a special one, right? This is the first closed door 5-minute review. It's probably going to end up being 15 minutes. What else to say? Yeah, I would watch this when your family is away in the afternoon, and I wouldn't drink. If you're a drinker, I'm not really a drinker. I wouldn't watch this at night. You're going to miss a lot, and it's going to be tough to process in, that half hour before you fall asleep. 5 out of 5, for sure. I will mention one more thing about Tom Noonan, who passed away recently. This is another guy who is really undersung. I don't believe because a lot of little tributes popped up on the internet when he passed away. I would check out his directorial catalog. I would check out his other, like you've seen Manhunter and you've seen, was it To Live and Die in LA? He's got a bunch where he plays RoboCop. He plays the bad guy, the heavy. He does it well. There's a whole other side to his body of work that's worth checking out. It's not always like really exciting, but it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good, I have to say. And this is why he was cast. This is Sean Penn kind of maybe throwing him a bone, but also pulling in that power. Both of these guys are considered sort of great actors, and both of them are probably better directors than they are actors. In Penn's case, for sure. With Noonan, who knows? I mean, this was a guy who was, if anybody was going to play like Judge Holden, who knows what Hillcoat will pull out, but he could have done it. He had that much gravitas. All right, so that's it. 15-minute, 5-minute review, The Pledge.